down, wave the card in the air a little bit. Somebody will pick it up and give it, or somebody will pick it up and give it to the back, who sort them through, because you understand you cannot answer the question every time. So be sure, just like now, Virginia's giving her question. Joanne is giving her question. I want to ask you also to please turn your telephones off. And also, please don't gamble. At the time, on election night, I will be taking all bets. So, as you all know, the Ferndale Senior Group is putting this on, and we're so grateful to you for coming and attending. Always supported it so well. And as a thank you, our next potluck is on August 23rd. Candidates in the city council are all invited. Just come if you feel like you're bringing a dish, fine. If not, the ladies will more than amply. That will be at the Hazel Park Recreation Department. Please also refrain from applauding any answers or any introductions. Save your applause for at the very end. Otherwise, we're going to be here until 2.
Test, test.
And also be quiet. Don't talk amongst yourselves. So, without further ado, I'll turn it over to Oscar.
Our microphone is a little bit loud voice, so hope you can hear me. Good morning and welcome to the Ferndale Senior Group Candidate Forum. My name is Oscar and I will be your moderator. It's my pleasure and privilege to serve our community. Let's go over the rules of the forum. We'll introduce candidates in alphabetical order. Go from left to right. We kindly ask you to hold your applause until the end of the questions session, but Gina already told you that. And let's keep the forum neighborly and refrain from negative comments. Silence your phones. If you have any questions to candidates, please see ladies in the back and the cards will get them. Are we ready to go? All right, introducing candidates. Donnie Johnson for City Council. Rolanda Keeley for City Council. Leilon Lee Smay for Mayor of Ferndale. And Dennis Sweetie for City Council. This is one time that we can do applause. Come on. Okay. As Jeannie mentioned, there are a few rules that we would like to go over. So each candidate will have 3 minutes to introduce themselves and for opening remarks, and 2 minutes per question. Please pay attention to Mr. Wilcock to my right. He has cards, and he will let you know when your time is almost up, and then we'll have a hard stop, and then we'll proceed from left to right. So we will start in alphabetical order. First question will be answered by Donnie. Second question, Rolanda will start, and so on and so forth. And then we will rotate. We recommend to keep the forum positive and neighborly. And again, we hope that everyone refrains from making negative comments. And please don't interrupt candidates while they're addressing them. Okay. So I have a pretty good amount of questions, and I think we will be able to hear more questions that we are for this morning. So Donnie, what thing or things that you are most proud of as a person? Oh, I'm sorry, let's do introduction. I am sorry. So let's do Donnie, please, it's your turn. Please introduce yourself.
Okay. As Oscar said, my name is Donnie Johnson, and I am running for City Council. So for the last 8.5 years, I've been serving here in the community, and it recently occurred to me that I was thinking of a quote that I learned when I was in high school. I was reading a book about Theodore Roosevelt, and one of the things he said was, far and away, the greatest prize in life is the chance to work hard at work worth doing. And what I've learned in my career, living here in Ferndale and volunteering, and in my career with the city of Detroit since its bankruptcy, being part of that team, is that public service is hard work, but it is so worth doing. And so I decided to do something wild and run for city council. As I noted, I've lived here in Ferndale for 8.5 years. Here in Ferndale, I got started volunteering in Ferndale about 3 months after I moved here. I started working elections, and it was fun, and I thought, well, this is neat. Dave Coulter was the mayor at the time, and he reached out and asked if I would serve on the Civil Service Board, so I agreed. I'm now the president of the Civil Service Board. I serve on the Housing Commission. I'm just started my second term as a housing commissioner. And up until January, I had been on the Board of Affirmations for about 6 years. I've been very involved in the community, very excited to work with folks here in town, and I'm excited to carry that forward. So let's talk about what I'm running for. My platform is fairly simple. It's affordable and accessible housing for our residents with disabilities and other mobility issues. It's the city's infrastructure. When I chaired the city's resident-led facilities task force last year, we learned that the city's facilities are in a dire state of disrepair. This includes our firehouses, our police precinct, even the city hall that we're sitting in is subject to backups and problems with the roof, and we need to address that. I want to support small businesses. Small businesses are the lifeblood of a small community. One of the fun things I get to do in Detroit is be part of the economic and business development budgeting aspect for the city, and I would love to bring similar programs to Ferndale, like small business support loans, premises improvement loans for business owners who need to do a renovation or an improvement, so they don't have to go into debt to stay in business here in Ferndale. And finally, and I think most importantly for this group, I would like to improve the quality of life for our seniors and our working families. Seniors comprise a little over 15% of our population, and we need to replace the recreation center. We need to bring a space for our seniors to do, and I would support a commission for the seniors to provide a formal method of informing the city government's policies and priorities. Seniors are the lifeblood of our community. They built this community, and we owe them a great deal. Thank you.
Thank you, Donnie. Rolanda, if you would, please.
Hello, seniors of Ferndale. Thank you so much for putting this forum together and giving us all the opportunity to share our vision for Ferndale. My name is Rolanda Kelly, and I'm humbled to stand before you as your city council candidate. My guiding principle is listen, learn, lead. This philosophy represents how I will leverage the knowledge and the wisdom of our community, you all, to understand the needs and the history that will guide me as a public servant. I firmly believe that a strong council is made up of people driven to serve. And as servant leaders are empathetic, humble, and know enough to know that they don't know everything. But they have to be willing to put in the work. And I am here, and I'm willing to put in the work. My platform is built on 3 fundamental pillars: transparency and connectivity. I firmly believe in an open and transparent government that values the input of its citizens. I will prioritize regular town hall meetings, community forums, and online platforms to gather your opinions, concerns, and ideas. Together, we will make solution-based decisions. Number 2, sustainable growth. Ferndale has great potential, and I'm committed to ensuring that growth is both sustainable and responsible. We'll work together to find the balance on critical issues such as affordable housing, updating infrastructure, and preserving the unique character that makes our city special. And number 3, responsible budgeting. I've been a single mother, an hourly worker, and someone who managed my own budget, and I'm keenly aware of the struggle of my finances keeping pace with the cost of living. I understand the importance of managing our finances responsibly, and I will explore innovative ways to generate revenue without it being a burden to our community members. I understand the concerns and challenges our seniors face. Many of you feel unheard, and that's something I want to change. Currently, I'm working with Councilperson Laura Mikulski to create a senior advisory committee that will ensure that your voices have a direct impact on council and the city staff. One of the major concerns is the Headley override. While I cannot control the outcome of the ballot initiative, I promise to make sure that your hard-earned money is spent wisely and with your best interests in mind. Additionally, I share in your disappointment in the condition of the Kulik Center and our other city buildings. I am committed to building a permanent home for our seniors, a community center that we can all be proud of. And I will work diligently to make sure that it's properly maintained. I understand the importance of investing in robust senior programs and activities. You deserve a place where you can build relationships, foster community, and feel a strong sense of belonging. I am here to listen, learn, and lead the way in creating a community that you can truly call home. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to working together to make Ferndale a better place for all of us.
Thank you, Raylan. Please.
First of all, can you hear me? I need to wear this mask because I need to protect my mom who's undergoing a procedure. So I'll try to speak loud. First of all, good morning. Thank you, Ferndale seniors in City Hall, for hosting this forum. My name is Raylan Leaks-May, and I've been a resident and engaged community member and volunteer for over 30 years. My children have attended Ferndale Public Schools, have graduated all but one, who is still a student. I've been your council person for the last 8 years and have served on the Ferndale School Board for 3 years prior to being elected to City Council. Professionally, I'm an information and referral specialist for the aging and the disabled populations, and am employed at the Area Agency on Aging 1D. With over 11 years' experience as an elected official in a community that I love, I'm proud to say that I'm a champion for those who wish to age in place. I speak with seniors such as yourselves daily and have serious conversations about resources available for different stages of life. I have a long history of weighing options. I study, and in order to do this, I have to be a great listener first and foremost. I have served on various PTAs, Ferndale Park Board, Ferndale Accessibility Advisory Inclusion Commission, just to name a few. I have a history of building bridges with neighboring municipal leaders that I believe have helped promote a sense of connectivity and continuity with collaborative projects within our communities. I want you all to know that safety, health, and wellness are very important to me. I believe that we have some of the best city services around, our police, fire, and DPW, and that budgeting for these services need to be handled responsibly and with priority. Furthermore, I know that our parks and recreation space is of concern to many of you. I'm very proud to have been part of discussions that resulted in safe walking paths and top-notch exercise equipment being installed in our parks. I am committed to working with a robust city council to find viable solutions that will bring a community center back to Ferndale, a space that we can call our own. What is important to all of you is also very important to me. Over 11 years ago, I entered public service with a commitment to working hard for all of you. I would love to continue working hard for you as your mayor, and I ask for your continued support, trusted support, and vote on November 7th or before. Thank you.
Dennis?
Good morning, everyone. First, thank you to the Senior Citizens Group for hosting this and the city for accommodating us with this space. My name is Dennis Whitey. I'm running for a position on the Ferndale City Council. My background includes my community background starts with just being here forever. My family's been here pretty much our whole lives. In fact, my great-grandparents are some of the original settlers of Ferndale in the 1920s. And we've stuck around for generations. There's now a fifth generation started with my nieces and nephews. The issue that are faced, I know the history of the city. I know where we came from, where we are now, where we need to go. And with that, I've served on various boards and commissions throughout my time. I started community service at 15 years old. That was my first committee I worked on, was at 15. 45 now, so that was about 30 years ago. But through that, I've served on Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, which I'm currently on. I've served on the Finance Review Committee back in 2011, which was extremely important to budgeting. I'm the Vice President of the Fern Care Free Clinic, and I'm also on the Ferndale Community Foundation. In addition, I've did many community initiatives such as our civil rights ordinances when they were proposed in the 90s and early 2000s. So I worked on that. But not only is just my community-based experience, but my overall education. I have a master's in public administration, a law degree, a bachelor's in political science, as well as an associate's in criminal justice. To say I get bored with one thing easy is an understatement. I'm constantly looking for new ways to innovate and diversify. With that, I still work as an emergency medical technician through a private ambulance service, which services Detroit 911. It's very contingent, but I work some weekends on the midnight shift just to kind of keep myself in touch with community-based public safety. Beyond that, I have a track record. So many of you may know I served a temporary term in 2019 as a Ferndale City Council person. And as a council member in 5 short months, I was able to accomplish 3 major things in just 5 months. And that was the first thing is, my most proud thing was being instrumental in criminalizing what's so-called conversion therapy, which harmed our LGBT youth. The second thing is sponsoring and getting unanimously passed a resolution against white supremacy when there was that uprising about 4 years ago when that was occurring. And on top of that, I actually wrote the ordinance for our anti-littering with the leaflets in our community. Wrote it and got it passed unanimously by the council. But beyond that, that's what I've done in the past. What do we need to work on? My platform is 3 things. First, I'm addressing railroad crossings. We have a constant railroad issue of blocking, and I'm going to be working on that, and I hope to get more into that. The second is our infrastructure. We need a community center and update our buildings. And the third is quality of life. That's everything from listening to residents to a senior commission to affordable housing, everything. That is quality of life, and that's my third issue. I look forward to this forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Now introducing a candidate for mayor, Sean Hurley. Welcome. Would you like to go over the rules again? You understand you'll have 3 minutes to introduce yourself, and then everyone is going to have 2 minutes to answer particular questions.
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay. So please go ahead and start. Please introduce yourself.
Hello all, my name is Sean Hurley. I am really pulling here to bring a new generation into Ferndale. We have had consistent politicians in our Congress that are not giving you all what you need. I've heard the complaints, I've walked the streets, and I know that there is more that needs to be done. And that is, in a very simple way, creating and maintaining a proper budget. A proper budget requires knowledge. And my knowledge here is that I have experience. I am a Michigan State graduate. I know I look a little young, but I am a Michigan State graduate. I have worked in business. I work at one of the highest tech companies in this country. And my primary role within that company is to fix and maintain and balance money. And I know that what you all want, whether it is a community center, whether it is, proper solutions to our infestation issues, whether it's a multitude of different issues, which I really hope to hear from all of you about and how I can help this. However, we have a budget issue in this city, and a budget needs to be fixed. There is money here. We have money. We're paying taxes. Do we need the Headley Overact? Yes, we do. Do we need to reduce the taxes for our citizens? Yes, we do. And I have all of those proper qualifications in order to do so. Next, I want to bring up that I do know, and I've heard from multiple people, that there is an urge for a community center, and I have a plan for that. I have realized recently, especially if you walk right outside of this door here, that we are now in a major homelessness issue within this city. And I believe that with creating a center that is not only accessible to our seniors in this area, whether it's for our youth who are not LGBT and can go to affirmations, that they have an area that they can go to as well too. The last thing I want to see in this city as mayor for all of you is to see a shooting. I don't want that here. And then I want to create a solution for our homelessness, to reenact them and rehabilitate them to be able to be functional members of society. With that, I am going to say that I know I'm young. I know that I may not be as qualified as some of the people here, but I am educated, I'm passionate, and I love Ferndale, and I am willing to do anything for you.
All right, thank you, Sean. All right, so we are gonna go over the first question, and this question had the most cards. I'm going to combine them into one question. If this was a job interview, please tell us about yourself, about your management style, about your accomplishments, and what are you going to tackle in the first 30 days? John, please go ahead.
To start that question, I would prefer not to diverse my company that I work for, but it is the largest tech company in the country, and my role is a project fixer. I go into a project 1 to 2 times a year, and I fix the budgets. They are priorities for our company, and I reevaluate and reassess how we can actually make this sustainable. Also, I do feel that there are many certain issues that have been going on within this city currently, and I know that without certainty, that if we continue on this route and we continue on with our former mayor, our current mayor's policies and her predecessor, that we are not going to be able to succeed, and we will have a budget deficit farther than what we currently have. I have a 5-step plan to fix this. We need to reevaluate how we are spending our money within our police. We need to reevaluate how we spend our money in our fire. That's 30% of our budget. And there's nothing for you guys. And that's what I want to do. And I want to reevaluate, and I can break this down and make it right for all of us.
Thank you, Sean. Donnie, it's your turn.
Thank you, Oscar. So by day, I am the Associate Budget Director for the City of Detroit. I oversee about $3 to $4 billion of the city's appropriated and federal and state funds every day. I manage a team of amazing people. My management style is pretty collaborative. I like to sit down with my team. I like to strategize. I like to think about what are we trying to accomplish today, this week, next month, next year. My job is to look and keep a team looking far into the future. My job was not just to bring Detroit out of bankruptcy, which is what I was part of doing, but to think 10, 20, 50 years ahead. How do we keep a government solvent? How do we do it together? How do we do it collaboratively? This is what I do for a living. So my management style is collaborative. It's understanding what's needed, what my team needs to thrive. And in the sense of, serving on city council, everyone's a team. As a community, that's what a community is. It's a team of people who are working together toward the same goal. We might have different ideas about how we get to that goal, but we can always sit down together and come up with a strategy to move forward, not only to accomplish what we can accomplish next year, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
Thank you, Donnie. Rolanda, your turn.
Sure. So I'm a manager at Costco, a senior manager. I manage over 400 people on a daily basis, a $275 million a year business. When I transferred to that location, I've worked at many different locations, and I kind of go into tougher buildings and fix the issues. So when I transferred to Costco on Middle Belt, we were a focus building. So we were not turning profit. We had large D&D, and within 2 years of my training, we came off of that focus building. So now we have one of the highest profits in the Midwest. Our morale's high. We have a lot of people getting promoted underneath us. So my management style is collaborative. What my employees would say about me is I listen, I find solutions, and I'm always going to do the right thing. And that's what I'm going to do for you guys here at Ferndale. Thank you.
Thank you, Rolanda. All right, Raylon, your turn.
All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that As far as management style, I am a bridge builder. I believe in collaborating. So even with my day job, even with municipal leaders in the community, I like to come together to discuss ideas and talk about what we can do to work together as partnerships, because we're even stronger and better together than we are apart. I can tell you that from a quick little story, is that I remember back before COVID, having breakfasts with the mayor of Oak Park, talking about issues, how we can partnership, what we can do to make our communities better. I serve on various committees, not only in the city, but also at my job. The committees that I serve on at my job all pertain to enriching and building and increasing the lives of our seniors, their activities of daily living, their quality of life. In the first 30 days of serving to serve as mayor, that I hope to be your mayor, I would focus on something that I'm focusing on right now. I'm noticing that we are needing more barrier-free housing. I get calls every day of people who don't have adequate living arrangements to be able to accommodate their changes in life. And I can say that being on the Economic and Incentives Committee right now, serving for you, that there are resources and there are discussions in place right now bringing barrier-free housing to the affordable developments that are coming to Ferndale. It is something that I think is important. My voice at that table is what has brought these conversations to play, and my serving on the Ferndale Accessibility Advisory Inclusion Commission has also served that. So I'm here working for you. I will continue working for you. And I appreciate you all so much. Seniors are the foundation of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Raylon. Dennis, we'll come to you.
Absolutely. So the first thing is, the first part of that question was job interview. So I'm a licensed attorney, I'm a solo practitioner, so I own a small business. So I understand what it's like to have to keep the lights on, to keep, income generated in order to keep the business maintained. I'm a one-person operation in my law practice and looking to expand in the future. However, just that experience alone over the last 8 years speaks a lot to how to deal with a budget, how to make sure income's coming in, and to, more importantly, spend wisely. So that's just the first part of what gives me a unique aspect to all of those candidates. Besides that, as an attorney, I'm a contracted public defender down in Wayne County, so I do a lot of work for indigent people, and a lot of that deals with mental health and homelessness and all of those issues. So I understand those extremely well. In addition, I'm a retired police officer who actually was a whistleblower who stood up when there was some corruption in the city I worked in at the time. And, I've done the right thing. And not only do I say I'll do the right thing, I've done it because I risked my entire law enforcement career on it, and it did end it because of those reports. But besides that, I still currently work EMS, as I said in my opening. I work Detroit 911, very contingent on midnights. So I understand fire, police services, when city services are dilapidating and you need more. My management style is pretty, not necessarily hands-on. So basically, the city council is the policymakers for the city. They don't run the city the day-to-day. You have an administration for that. What the city council does, though, is make sure that the administration is acting accordingly. And that would be my management role, not to overstep and try to run a department. That's not my goal. And in the first 30 days, what I'll do is reacquaint myself with all the departments, learn the inner workings of each department so I can understand better how to deliver city services. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Donnie will come to you with the next question. And this is no surprise, I get quite a few questions. So I'll summarize it together. Could you please tell us about the status of a new senior center in Ferndale? Is it your priority, and what is your plan?
Thank you, Oscar. Yes, 100%. We have to have a community center. The loss of the Kulik Center was a huge blow to the community. A community needs a space to meet, for children to play, for just the enrichment that we need as a community. One of the interesting things about this is, by day, part of what I oversee for the city of Detroit is its infrastructure budgets. And right now in Detroit, we are building 2 new recreation centers in council districts that have never had one. And so at this very moment, I am part of a group of people building rec centers. I know how to build them, I know how to pay for them, and I know how to pay for them in a way that does not require a lot of our tax dollars. I know how to pay for them in a way that comes from state appropriations and county appropriations. There are many ways to pay for things through grants and foundations, and anyone who believes otherwise will prove it. We'll get you a rec center, it'll be state of the art, and we will have a place to meet and a place to play.
Thank you, Donnie. Rolando will come to you with the same question.
So again, as I stated in my opening statement, I understand the importance of having a community. So it's number one priority for me. One of the things, we just received $500,000 from Helena Scott and Mallory McMorrow of the state budget towards our community center, so that's a start. We're gonna have to look at the RPA, is that what it is? The ARPA, see what they have there, and again, get grants from the state and county to get that done. But it's 100% a priority. I know our seniors need that, and they need that community. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rolanda. Rolanda will come to you.
So, I don't know if you all know, but I'm a mother of 5 children. My oldest is 35, my youngest is 16. We have had such a history, a long, robust history with the Kulik Center. I've had birthday parties there. I have a picture of my daughter who turned 2, and we had a party in the community center there, the little toddler center in the corner. I've utilized the community center for so many things pertaining to my family. I've met so many community members there, and nothing means more to me than to have that kind of space back here and to call our own. As was spoken earlier, yes, partnerships and collaboration are key in order to getting our community center back. Funding allocations are being made and discussed. In fact, the one that a previous speaker just spoke of regarding our state senators and state representatives, I'm proud to say that that was actually a great initiative by many, but also by our current mayor, who reached out, and these representatives reached out to her and asked what she could do to assist in these efforts to secure these funds. So I know for a fact that a part of the allocating those funds to us was a lot of her doing. So I want to make that clear that we are, as a council, current council, committed to bringing our community center back. We're committed to finding grants and dollars to bring the services needed so that you can serve and play and stay and enjoy a community center and call it your home. I'm committed to that. I've called the Kulik my home for many years. I was disappointed to see it go, but we're going to bring one back, and it's going to be better than ever. And but we need your help. We need you to have your voice in this. We need your engagement, and we need you to tell us what you need, because we're listening. I'm listening.
Thank you, Roland. Dennis, please.
So let's look at the history of community centers. Our community center, when I was a kid, was on 9 Mile by Credit Union 1, back in the day, right? And the city had leased that building. And so we were at the mercy of Credit Union 1 when they wanted to expand their business, and rightfully so, they have a right to do that. And so our fix was, let's lease a building, Washington Elementary, which is now the Kulik Center, from the school district. And so that was supposed to be kind of more of a temporary fix, but turned into more of a long-term fix. And so what we're having now is we need to establish a community center in which the city actually owns it, so that we're not at the mercy of another government agency, a private business, anything like that. And I think that there are no quick fixes to this. I think it's a start for the grant funding that the other candidates have just spoke about. It's just a start, because there's much more to a community center than just the funding. It's the needs. It's to service not only seniors, but children and everybody in between. I remember when they had enrichment classes at Kulik Center, and even before on 9 Mile. And we need a return to that. For a community such as Ferndale that speaks to such a high quality of life, is we need a community center for people to meet. It is a foundation of a community, and it is my priority. Now, looking at that, I can't tell you I have all the solutions. I don't think anybody can. And not having the solutions, I need to work collaboratively with whomever gets elected in this next council, which is exactly what I plan to do. But please rest assured that a community, honestly, it upsets me that we don't have one. It really does. And I thank the city of Hazel Park for sharing theirs with us in the meantime. And it's brought more people in the senior group through Hazel Park Seniors, which is a good thing. But we should still have our own community center return to Ferndale, which is exactly where it should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Sean, we come to you. Same question.
You know, I really like the conversations that we're having here. However, I believe they're complete BS. We have had a mayor here for 10 years, and we do not have a community center today. And the reality is that it's not about the financial situations here. It's about the buildings, it's about those aspects. And what we're going to do in my full plan for this is I want to create a center where not only can seniors be allowed and embrace themselves, but also let's fix some other issues too. You know, let's fix this homelessness problem. What if we had a situation where we allow within our community center the homeless that are sitting right outside here living in our city hall right now? What if we allowed them to work and rehabilitate themselves to be able to become members of our society? What about the children? What about these kids that might feel in a place where they can't be free and they can't express themselves and they don't have the resources that they require? We don't want the situations that happen in Uvalde. We don't want these small-time situations. And the community center is not just for seniors, it is for everyone. And everyone deserves to have that. And I will ensure, as your mayor, that not only will you get a community center, but you're going to get a community center that is going to blossom and grow and build our community to what we need.
All right, thank you, Sean. Oh, we'll take a quick break. We'll fix the sign.
It was going fast.
Put it away. Well, we're glad we took a quick break because apparently it's hard to hear the questions, so I'll speak a little bit louder.
Okay.
Okay, so next question, and actually quite a few cards here. What can City of Ferndale do to improve or lower senior property taxes? Rolanda, I'll come to you with this question.
Well, I just reached out because there is a program, it's a community development block grant, and that it can fund different programs for the low income, and it could also help with our taxes. So I'm trying to get a hold of that right now. I reached out to the city manager, and he needed to get in touch with Roger, who was out of town, to get me where that money's being spent. So that also helps fund our snow and lawn services, but I know it also funds the code enforcement. So I want to see where that money is being spent and see how we can help our seniors with our taxes.
Thank you, Rolanda. Raylan, we'll come to you, same question.
So, property taxes are very, very high, and I recognize that, and I realize that, and I come to you also as a resident that also pay those taxes. So it is not heard on deaf ears regarding the burden that is. I've just heard conversation about the CDGB funds, whereas we do have that funding. It's a certain amount allotted every year that's utilized and kind of spread over various uses in the community. It has to be used specifically for certain areas. So whether or not it can be used for property taxes or ways to decrease them, that remains to be seen and discussed. But I know it's specific. Like, for instance, I know that the CDGB funds help fund lawn services, also helps to fund Haven and other resources in this community. One of the things that we have here at the city level is a board of review. A board of review helps discuss your tax services, your rates, helps you go over whether or not you're overpaying or underpaying, and it meets every year just after the tax bill comes out. So I know that that's been utilized to help some people, and it's been utilized, and some people it doesn't, but it's worth a try. You never know that if there's something maybe you can scale down on, or maybe have something scaled back on, I would encourage everyone to reach out for that board review. It happens, I believe every mid-September, maybe early October, and it's a valuable resource. We have lots of services that we provide here at the community that also help pertain to those taxes, and I know our seniors love the services that we provide, and we want to find ways to keep those services and make things livable and affordable for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Roland. Dennis, we come to you with the same question.
It's interesting when this question came up because I just paid my summer taxes. It's in my bag still, the stub. That's what I was pulling out. But one thing is, why are taxes so high? We should start with that question, and then how do we reduce them? The first reason that they're higher is because we vote them in. Honestly, when I say we, it's not the city council. When you look at the tax roll, pretty much everything on here is something we voted in: school millages, school sinking funds, the community college funding, things like that. A small portion of that goes to the city actually general fund. And what I know is we need to deliver high-quality services, good police, fire, EMS. We need to deliver snow being removed from the roads, our garbage being picked up. All these city services are critical, and unfortunately, with costs going up, so is the cost of everything. However, even given that, first thing is smart spending is the first way to try to lower the taxes. And it is spend on priorities and what the community wants. There's a citizen review task force that's being appointed now regarding the budget. And it's another budget, thorough look through, and I did the same committee in 2011. And a lot of interesting things will probably come from that. And we'll see what our priorities are and where we can spend more efficiently, or places where we may just decide that's not a priority for the community, something else is. And so in order to reduce taxes, that's one thing we have to do is start with the spending, and on top of it, look at other things such as grant resources and things like that. It's a difficult issue. It's not lost on me. This is my second house that I've owned in Ferndale. Taxes, when it uncapped, was like a shock. I sat there and went, oh boy. But at the same time, there are ways we can try to reduce them. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Sean will come to you with the same question.
I think my overall question to the group here is, do we want to build the community centers and the things that we really want? Is that what we want here? Yes, I understand that taxes are taxes. We can't change that. Obviously, our people vote for millages that allow for these taxes, with the Headley, etc. And we have to make those decisions. You have to make those decisions for us. However, we have to understand that if we want what we want, a center, if we want something beautiful, this is a beautiful city. This is a city of vibrance. And it was based on the LGBTQ community who worked their asses off to build this. And what we want to do here, you have to all decide. You have to decide whether the millage is important, if raising your taxes are important for your community center. We have to work around all of these different issues. I will say on this sense, though, that I know that I can look at the budget because I've reviewed the past budget for 2024 to 2025, and it's absurd. The amount of money that we are spending. Do you know why we spend so much in police and fire? It's because we don't offer pensions. We don't offer anything to the people that support our communities. And now if you want to change those things, taxes are involved in that. But how can we have stable community and have everything that we need to have and everything that you all want to have without having taxes?
All right, Sean, thank you so much. Ani, will come to you, same question.
Thanks, Oscar. So I think, I echo many of my colleagues here. I'm a homeowner here in Ferndale. I am also enjoying paying those taxes. It's a deep honor to be a homeowner. I think everyone has articulated the kind of bind that we're in. Taxes are high, but they're paying for the things we love to do. And so we're going to have this hard conversation about, what do we want as a community? What do we want to focus on? And, how do we move that forward? I think I want to point out that, the state has a number of programs for seniors specifically that can help, making sure that, what I would like to do is something similar to what we have in my day job, which is a program that would help to make sure that all seniors and everyone who's eligible is taking advantage of things like the homestead credit, tax exemption programs that the state has based on income, and the board of review, making sure that the board of review process is understandable, is clear, is accessible. As Raylon noted, the board of review is a very powerful entity when it comes to your taxes. You can really work that process to your benefit, as long as it is clear and it is understandable. But one thing I want to note is, one of the underlying reasons, and this is a little technical, so forgive me, but it's something that I spend a lot of time talking about professionally for work, is that the model of state funding for local governments in Michigan is pretty broken. Our taxes are high because it's the only way the city governments, any city government in Michigan, can get the revenue it needs to operate. There are no substantial transfers from the state government to local governments. And that forces the burden down on our residents instead of spreading that burden more equally and equitably across the state. And that's something I would want to continue to advocate for with our colleagues in Lansing, to work on funding solutions through that method too.
All right, Donnie, thank you so much. Okay, next question. And I would go with this question to Raylon. Do you feel that we have a problem with city budget? How are you going to improve it if you feel that there is a problem? And how are you going to vote on Headley override if elected?
All right,
Sorry, it's like I tried to combine all these cards together, so
okay.
I did my best.
Well, I feel that city budgets are really complicated. And I think that what we have to do is that we really have to go through each line by line item, which we do as a council, to determine what's important, what's priority, what's not. Every year, council meets in council chambers every March to discuss a budget plan, to determine what's important to the community, what's important, what the departments need. The departments line out everything that they need one by one, and we determine what is priority and what isn't. We know that over 70% of our budget is personnel, our police and fire. I also know that our seniors rely on our police and fire and DPW to provide them with the services that they need. The Headley override that we have right now is something that is used to maintain that type of service. So short of, I've never had anybody ask me how I was going to vote before, but I will tell you that I have been a proponent and champion for our police and fire and DPW. I see how hard they work. I've seen it firsthand as a resident, as a council member, and I would like to find ways in which they are able to maintain those services, have what they need, and to be able to provide us with what we need. So what that means essentially is to support a Headley renewal, but to have the information regarding the services that are needed, the steps we're missing, what can we do to make the process better, and that is why I was supportive of the Finance Review Committee that is about to start probably come this fall. It's an important group. They're going to come up with great solutions, and we need to work with them in order to maintain our services for seniors, for all of us, for all residents in this community.
Thank you, Raylon. Dennis, same question?
Sure.
If you need to repeat, I can repeat.
No, I'm good.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the last part, the Headley, and then move towards the city budget. So the first thing that's important to note is a Headley override requires a vote of the citizens. It's a majority of the voters. Your city council cannot pass a Headley override. They cannot deny a Headley override. And so we as a community will decide what do we want, what's our priority, and move on from there. But I think what's more important is how your city council, after that vote, whether it pass or fail, how they spend your money. That's the important thing where the city council now has a role. And that may look very different, a Headley override versus not an override. And that's why this new citizen budget committee is so promising, because I served on that same type of committee in 2011, and we'll see what our priorities are. With the priorities, we need police and fire, we need EMS to respond. We need these things. Unfortunately, we have to pay for them. I've worked in communities where those services are very few and far between. For instance, I worked a shift in EMS in Detroit just Sunday night where it took us 28 minutes, 28-minute response time to a 13-year-old who is having status seizures. In other words, seizure after seizure after seizure, 28 minutes. I don't want that in Ferndale. And we, as a community, have great services. When we call 911, we get those services. I've even started DPW on Christmas Eve during the blizzard 3 years ago, out on Christmas Eve at 2 in the morning, making sure the roads were clear. So I don't want us to give you, false hope as to if it passes or if it fails. This committee is going to decide what the priorities are, and then your city council is going to have to spend accordingly with that money. But it must be fruitful, it must be smart. We can't necessarily just use status quo. That's not it. And so if we want to put police on the street, firefighters in an ambulance, things like that, it does cost, but the Citizen Review Committee is going to come up with a lot of priorities on what we need to do, and I look forward to their report and guidance for all of us.
Dennis, thank you very much. Sean, we come to you with the same question.
I'd like to thank everyone sitting here for your opinions. I consider them to be complete BS. What I'm really sitting here and saying is that there are solutions to things. And let's start first with a budget. We have had a mayor, and a mayor who has supported my opponent currently. And how are we going to fix it if they're doing the same things over and over and over again? Do you want the same? Do you want Melanie Piani again? I don't think you guys do, because you're sitting here today. And that's why I'm saying that this is a new generation, and a new generation is able to fix a budget. Now, let's talk about the Headley. I will vote no against that. I do not want your taxes raised. I don't want another millage here, because I know that if I go into this budget, I will fix it. I will get you your community center. I will get you everything that you want, and I'm gonna figure out a way how to do it, because that's the way that we should be working. We all work within a budget. A budget is a budget. It doesn't mean that I have to charge you more money. And that is how I truly feel about this situation. And additionally, we keep talking about Detroit. We keep talking about other things here. We're not Detroit. We're a 2-square-mile city. This is Ferndale, Michigan. We are a different grouping of people. And I believe that we need to have a change within how our system works, because we're thinking that we're a different city. This is Ferndale. This is not Detroit. This is not Washington, D.C. I will fix that for you. I'm over.
All right, Sean, thank you. Donnie, would you like to go next?
I would. So the principles of government finance and budgetary management are the same, regardless of the size or the large or small cities. As I noted in my introduction and earlier, I literally do government budgets for a living. I'm part of the team that took Detroit from bankruptcy to record surpluses. So you're right, Ferndale's not Detroit. Of course it's not. But I know how to manage a budget, I know how to create a budget, and I know how to make sure that the city can get done what it needs to get done by rubbing 2 nickels together and getting $1. Because it's literally what we do in my day job. Government budgeting is hard, and it requires hard decisions, and I make those hard decisions every day. For the Headley override, I will vote to put that on the ballot, because it's your vote. It's not the city council's choice whether we do Headley or not. Our role is to put that on the ballot to give you the choice. I would note that the Headley override is not an increase, it's maintaining the current level of taxes. The Headley override revenue for the city of Ferndale comprises about 24% of the city's general fund. I work for a city that lost a huge chunk of its income and revenues to its general fund. I can tell you the impact that has on city governments. The city services that you enjoy right now in Ferndale would be drastically altered by that loss of revenue. There's no way to lose almost a quarter of your general fund without some impact. But if that's what the voters decide, well, I have the experience in addressing that and moving forward. Like I said, 2 nickels, get $1. I can do that.
All right, Donnie, thank you so much. Rolanda, we come to you with the same question.
Okay, so the budget, do we have a budget problem? We do. I think we all have a budget problem right now, right? The cost of living's going up, the cost of supplies is going up, everything's going up, right? I had to reevaluate my budget and see, reevaluate my finances to make it work for me. So yeah, we have a budget issue and we need to take a deep dive and look at that, right? As far as the Headley goes, there's several different things to look at: the financial needs, the impact on taxpayers, alternative revenue streams, and public opinion. So that's why we created the Financial Review Committee. And I'm committed to supporting what they put forward within reason. So, and you guys get a vote on that. So you will vote, not us, you will vote. And what I can do is ensure that we're spending our money correctly and that we're investing in our infrastructure and investing in our buildings and taking care of our buildings.
All right, thank you very much. It's time for next question. Dennis, we come with this question to you. Do you feel that we have infrastructure issue in the city, and would you support a municipal electric grid the way Ann Arbor is considering?
Well, the first thing I'll say is I'm all for saving money and making city services more efficient. So if that's one way to do it, I'd certainly be open to it. I have not actually looked at that specifically, but that is an idea where I just kind of went, oh, wow, that's something. And so that's something I would certainly be open to. Do we have an infrastructure issue? Yes, we do. Our buildings are older, right? They age. We do piecemeal fixes and piecemeal fixes. We just saw that with the Kulik Center. We've done that for years to the point where we can't put a patch on it anymore. And so a lot of the same issues is we have those same issues within all the city buildings, including our police and fire departments. And I do want to address infrastructure. It's one of my top 3 things on my platform is to deal with that issue. What we have here in Ferndale is inexcusable to our female police officers and female firefighters. They are in makeshift closets as a locker room. How do we say equity and equality? Come to Ferndale. Come get employed by Ferndale. If that's how we treat our female police officers and firefighters. And that needs to change. And along with that comes the infrastructure. We cannot simply just keep putting patches on things. And so the task force building committee just came out with a lot of recommendations. I'm open to a lot of that. Some of the things I question and I'm not so sure about. But at the same time, I am committed to updating our infrastructure and our buildings. If we don't maintain things, they dilapidate. And while I talk about the city of Detroit or where I worked EMS or where somebody works on the budget in the city, it's not to say we're Detroit by any means, but I don't want to become that. And infrastructure is part of that. And that's why those are brought up, because of the experience I've had that will pay sitting here on the city council, because I lived it. I live it currently. I live it with all of you. And therefore, I think we definitely need to look at infrastructure and keep Ferndale, Ferndale, the best it is, a friendly city with respect and equity. Thank you.
All right, Dennis, thank you so much. John, we'll come to you with the same question.
I like to address the infrastructure issue immediately by saying that all of the majority of council and our current mayor would like to spend $64 million to recreate this building. $64 million. What do you want out of that money? This is not $64 million. If I become mayor of this city, I will fix and rehabilitate this building. I went to Michigan State University and I sat and lived in a room that was built in 1928. It's possible. everything needs to get torn down, everything needs to get reestablished. No, we have what we have here. I can change that. I can make it to be where we need it to be. Furthermore, Dennis, I love you talking about the travesties of, obviously the support systems that we have when it comes to fire and police. However, I'm going to go back to an issue of $64 million infrastructure issues, but we don't offer pensions to our people who support us every day. Every day. They give their lives for us, and they don't get pensions. That's why we can't hold our police here. That's why we can't have retention rates anymore, because we do not give them what they deserve. So then they're going to go to Detroit. Then they're going, obviously, Detroit's a very big conversation here today. But, what are we going to really do about this is fix our police and fire systems and stop worrying about the room that's right next door. Let's worry about what's really going on and the fact that they're not going to have any security when they're done. Thank you.
All right, Sean, thank you so much. Just so all the candidates, we all on the same page, let's keep this debate, it's not a debate, it's a forum, so everyone gets the same time. Let's keep it positive. Let's not attack other candidates. There is really no need for it. It's inevitably.
Apologies if that felt like an attack. It was just a statement.
Okay, thank you. Not a problem. All right, Donnie, I'll come to you next. Same question.
Thanks, Oscar. It's a great question. So infrastructure, I chaired the Ferndale Facilities Task Force last year with a group of amazing residents. We toured the facilities. We had subject matter experts as part of the group, architects, engineers. It was a lot of fun, but it was distressing to learn the state of our infrastructure. I said this when presenting the report of the committee to City Council. Infrastructure is not sexy. It is often not a thing that people think is exciting, but you really don't have city services without a DPW service yard. You don't have services without functional fire stations where engines fit, where engines can pull out quickly to ensure quick response times. A police precinct where the vast majority of the workforce can't actually fit into the space. It's about a 9,000 square foot space deficit for the police department. These are issues that are not sexy, they're not cheap, but they have to be addressed. Because how do we operate a government? How do we deliver services without that infrastructure in working order? I'm interested in the question, about a city utility. I won't bring up the, verboten city that's next door that I happen to work for, but we had a city utility, and the reason we got out of it is extremely expensive. You're responsible for the infrastructure. You're responsible for, in theory, participating in paying for the generation of that power. We don't have the budget or the resources of somewhere like Ann Arbor. It would be very challenging to do. But I'm interested in something like converting Ferndale to more sustainable energy sources and looking for that, and seeing what we could do there to lower the cost of government through lowering the cost of our utilities.
Donnie, thank you so much. Rolanda, we'll come to you with the same question.
Okay. Yes, we have an infrastructure problem. I think we all know that here, right? And I'm disappointed in it. We didn't keep up with our buildings. We didn't maintain them properly, and now, here's where we are. And we have these high in the sky plans that this committee developed to replace all of our buildings, and what's going to happen then? We invest in all these buildings and we don't take care of them, and that's where we're at in the 20 years. I don't know. So, but yes, we have an infrastructure problem, and yes, we need to address it. We need to have proper spaces for our police and fire, and City Hall for that matter. As far as a municipal electric grid, I really don't have enough information on that, but I can assure you I will dive deep into that, and I will have an answer for you in the future.
Thank you very much.
May I have 1 extra minute after they're done?
No?
I'm sorry, no, we go in order. I apologize.
Thank you.
Milan, we'll we'll come to you with the same question.
So yes, infrastructure problem, yes, we do. That was one of the reasons why I supported the Facilities Task Force coming into play. The Facilities Task Force, their report opened my eyes to the needs of the community and to needs of our departments, the needs of our police and fire and DPW. When you heard the breakdown of what they were dealing with, I felt very fortunate to get that insight from a smart group of people that dedicated themselves to visit, tour, and navigate all aspects of our facilities. Yes, we are a small community, and buildings get old, and we have to find ways in which to maintain them. I think that comes with, as was noted earlier, partnerships with our utility companies. Utility companies are really coming on board as far as trying to find ways to be more climate friendly, more environmentally friendly. And so they are offering many, many grants and many funding sources to provide to communities to help mitigate those costs involved and to help bring Ferndale into something, or other communities into an environmentally friendly community, friendly city. Ann Arbor was mentioned. Huge, huge city. And again, we have to work with what we have. We have to work with our budget and partnerships as far as finding ways to help mitigate those costs so that it is not on the burden of you is imperative, is key. The Facilities Task Force was vital. I look forward to seeing what comes out of it. And these buildings will all be looked over as far as what we need, what we don't need.
Thank you, Raylan. John, we come to you with the next question. We often talk about downtown issues. However, we don't talk often about issues outside of downtown. Could you identify some of the issues on the east side, for example, such as long wait for trains and other issues like that?
Thank you, Oscar, for that question. And I would like to say that I think we all are a situation where we are in a technological universe. We all have apps. I think most of us probably pay when we go downtown for a little, the Ferndale Park app. I think that, and I agree that most of my colleagues as well feel the same way, that we just need an app and we need a solution to the extravagant times. I live right next to the train. I know when it's 7 o'clock hits, who knows how long it's gonna be. And we have to find solutions for that. I don't know if infrastructure can help fuel and finish that solution, but I do believe having the knowledge. And also, I would like to say, if anyone is ever at 9 Mile stuck on the road, go down to Cambridge and cross over. It's usually pretty good. But overall, that's something we definitely need to look at, and this is something that we need to handle, but it's so complex, and there's so many different issues at play, whether it's with our state legislation, whether it's with our federal when it comes to our railroad tracks and things along those lines. I feel for the east side. I used to live on Inman Street, and it was awful when we would want to come over and we'd have to sit there for 45, 50 minutes just to get past. There's definitely something that can be accomplished. However, I need to be able to have the opportunity to go and speak with these people who can make changes that will obviously benefit all of us here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honey, it's your turn.
Thanks, Oscar. So the point of the question is an incredibly good one, which is, it hits on the idea of equitable investment in the city. Are we equitably investing in the city? And I think that the train is an obvious concern, as noted in the question, and, there are many solutions. I think technologically, we can't move the train. I wish, because I live off Hilton on Channing, south of 9 Mile, and I have been late to actual boards and commission meetings for Ferndale, and I have to just text and say, I got trained, and everyone's just, waiting. But the question of equitable investment in the neighborhoods is a really good live question, and I think we have to talk about, are we allocating our resources equitably? Are we ensuring that the roads in the neighborhoods are weighted as heavily as the roads in our commercial corridors? Are we equitably investing in the parks that are embedded in our neighborhoods versus spaces in the downtown corridors and the commercial corridors? And I think we could definitely work on, I don't want to say complete realignment of the financial priorities of the city, but I'm definitely interested in talking about, do we need more green spaces? Do we need more of those sorts of investments in our community? The infrastructure of the neighborhoods is relatively simple. It's, streets, it's drainage. I think that's a major thing for the neighborhoods that I would want to take a look at in terms of neighborhood investment, is ensuring that we're getting ahead of the flooding issue as we receive more 100-year and 500-year rains every 3 months. My basement is one of those basements that I don't keep stuff in my basement because I've learned that hard lesson. But ensuring that we're dealing with things like drainage in the neighborhoods, that to me is something I think we could really work on to have a big impact in people's lives in the neighborhoods.
All right, Donnie, thank you. Rolando, will come. Yes, let's take a quick 2-minute break.
Oh, okay.
What was that? I'm going to have him repeat the question. I've gotten so distracted with what I'm hearing
I know.
that I need to focus.
All right, we are going to repeat the question really quick, and we are coming to you, Rolanda. We often talk about downtown issues, but what are some of the outside of downtown issues do you recognize, like on the east side with trains and others?
Okay, yeah, obviously, the train is an issue. I used to live on the east side on Rosewood Street, so the train got in my way many times. And now my partner has to take a different way home from work, and she's often late for dinner because of that train. So, yeah, I would like to see, I think Dennis has a good plan for that with the app and, you know, alerting you that it's there. I think that's a good idea. And as far as the east side, I think we've done a lot of investments over on Woodward Heights and Hilton, and I'd like to see us continue to do that and have more equitable investment over there. I know what it feels like to live on the east side. It kind of feels like a disconnect from everyone else. And I'd like to bridge that gap. So if you have any issues that you want to address, please let me know, and I'm happy to help you.
Thank you, Rolanda. Relam, we come with you, to you the next question.
All right. So I mentioned earlier that I serve on the Ferndale Accessibility and Advisory Commission. And something that we did recently was walk up and down, well, we walked up and down 9 Mile. We walked maybe somewhat on Woodward to put ourselves in the shoes of individuals who walk, ride, stroll, navigate our city that have certain disabilities. And what we found were so many things that we can be doing better as far as infrastructure, as far as accessibility. And what we plan to do at that committee level is that we also plan to do that on the east side. Because it was eye-opening to see that the space between the sidewalks probably couldn't really house or hold an individual who's in a wheelchair. One which I saw coming, crossing Woodward just today, coming here. I think that doing things such as walkthroughs, putting ourselves in the shoes of other community members. I'm a champion for community engagement, so I really propose having just conversations. I think it was mentioned earlier, roundtables, conversations, town halls, in all quadrants of the city to find out what the issues are. And also I encourage you all. If you see things in the community when you're walking downtown, when you're walking in other areas of the community, I encourage you to reach out, especially to the Ferndale Accessibility and Inclusion Advisory Commission, because we are looking for that. We're looking for ways to make Ferndale more accessible. I look forward to an accessible Ferndale. I look forward to community engagement. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. So please, I'm approachable. Bring it.
Thank you, Relan. Dennis, we come to you.
Okay.
Question?
Well, the question related to, so much we talk about downtown. When we talk about Ferndale, we talk about downtown. And a lot of times we don't talk about the neighborhoods. Who's on that corner lot? Who's having garbage thrown at night from a bar crowd? Things like that you see on the east side, East Breckenridge, Vester, all those neighborhoods over there. And so I've lived on the east side my entire life. So our whole family has, as a matter of fact. We've always been east siders. And I think a lot of the things that affect the east side also affects the west side, but there is sometimes a feeling of disconnect. My Aunt Maurice, who lived on East Webster, used to always tell me they don't care about us on the east side. I remember that from the 80s, she would say that. And the truth is, the city does care, but we need to message that better to show that we care. On top of that, I actually am a big supporter of the Hazel Park schools. 1/3 of our children in Ferndale go to Hazel Park schools, and I support their band boosters and all kinds of different things, their scholarship fund. And I think having those relationships between Ferndale with not only the Ferndale schools, but Hazel Park will bridge in the gap from the east side. With respect to trains, that is the big east side issue. We all get stuck by them. It's a pain. Our ambulance gets stuck by that. That's a problem. And so basically we used to be able to regulate that and say 5 minutes and that was it. You can only block it. Well, in 2002, the U.S. Court of Appeals came out and said, it's a federal issue. States and cities, you no longer can regulate that. What do the train companies do? Just put 10 times the amount of cars on the train. That's what's causing the backup. And this has been going on since 2002. My solution for that is similar to what Woodhaven has done and now Flat Rock, is to put up a camera system so you can pull an app on your phone to see when you leave your house, is there a train approaching? And so you know I need to take 8 Mile or 10 Mile or whatever the case may be. But that doesn't solve the issue for pedestrians. The app is not going to work. You can't walk around the train. So erecting an actual bike path or walk over type bridge could be relatively inexpensive and very effective to accommodate the pedestrians.
All right, Dennis, thank you very much. This is going to be our last and final question. I'm sorry if your question was not read. We were trying to concentrate on the ones that had the majority of cards. So we felt that this last question would fit really well because after this we'll do closing remarks. So how do you see our city now and in the future? And what would you be able to do as a city elected official to ensure the future that you envision for Ferndale? Ani, we'll start with you. Tough question. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, how do you see our city now and in the future? And what you can and cannot do if elected?
That's a really, really good question. Wow. Man, that's tough, you all. That's tough. You know, I think there are a lot of, I think the thing to acknowledge is there are a lot of things that a city council can't do. Like, we can't control the cost of living. We can't control, a lot of those things are out of our control. But what we can do is serve as a bridge between services and needs in the community and the people who have them. And so the city council can educate the community on programs that can help for home repairs, food insecurity, tax relief, the various programs that people need. The city council can serve as that liaison to help connect you to those people, to say, you know what, I know a person at the county, let me get you in touch with them. They're absolutely gonna be able to work with you on that. And I think that's the key role of being an elected official, of being a city council member here in Ferndale, is to really serve as that liaison, that bridge between the community and the resources that it needs to get things done. Yes, we also administer a lot of resources on behalf of the community and make some of those decisions, but far and away the biggest group of needs for the community are ones that we have to rely on, not the immediate Ferndale city government. And that's what this council can do most powerfully, and that's what I can do most powerfully as a city council member, is connect you to those resources, those state resources, those county resources, even federal resources, and folks who can help you with those things. I have experience doing that in my day job, and you know, would continue to do that here. There are high expectations for a city council, and I am very keen to run as hard as I can to meet all of those things. And where I can't, I will tell you that I can't, that this is not something the city council can address. I will be honest with you, but I will then sit with you and say, so let's talk about what we can do. Let's not stop there.
Thank you very much. Roland, the same question to you. Would you like me to repeat the question?
How do you see our city now and in the future? So currently, I love Ferndale. It's my home. It's my forever home. I worked hard to be able to buy a home here and to be able to stay here. And how I see our city now, I see that there's a bit of a disconnect. I feel like there's a disconnect between our city leadership, our council, and our residents. I feel like some of the residents, the businesses, they just don't feel heard or valued. And what I'd like to do is bridge that gap. And I want to be the voice. I want to listen to what you have to say. I want to work with you to find solutions. And I want to work together to help our city flourish. And that's what I want to do on the city council.
Thank you very much. Roland, I will come to you with the same question.
All right. So I think that the key is really about building the relationships. It's really about listening to the community, you letting us know what you need. Being in such a small community, I'm telling you that I can't go anywhere without running into somebody, somewhere, who wants to talk about what's going on, what they love about the community, and what they don't like. And I want you to know that I hear you. I take that to heart. There are times when there's a big decision coming up, I can't sleep at night. I take it so seriously. And I really want you to know that it means something to me. Your voice, your concerns mean something to me. This is not something that I do just because I want to do it. It's because I care. I came into the public service sector because I cared. Because I felt like my voice was a big voice that needed to be heard. I had something to add, and I want to bring you all in that. Recently, we had a civic group called Fern and Learn, where residents such as yourselves learned about all aspects of the city. And I look at that group as being future council members, future community, civic organization groups, just future leaders in this community. So I love that it's something that we did. I also look at, I really believe that together we are so invested. This group, this community is so powerful and has such a big voice, and we make things happen that I know that whatever issues that we have, we can come to it together, and if we can't, I will never promise you that I can do something, but what I will do is I will promise you that I will listen to you and hear you. I love this community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roland. Dennis, we come to you with the same question.
Well, how do I view Ferndale now and into the future? Well, I'll say this, because I've been here my whole life, is where we've come so far compared to where we were in the 70s and 80s and 90s. We've come a long way. And while we have city issues, that is something that I view that we as a community come together on. We may disagree, we may have arguments, we may have, Facebook battles on these forums that you see. We all see the forums. And so when you have that, but in the end, the community comes together. I noticed that when we had the big power outage in 2014, the community came together, as with many communities, and neighbors got to know each other, reestablish things. They were having barbecues because they all wanted to cook the meat because the fridge was out. There was no power, right? And so when that happened, that was something I noticed in Ferndale that we did extremely, extremely well. And that is our biggest asset, is the community. And when I say community, it's all of us. It's you, it's me, it's everybody. It's our business owners, the kids in schools, all the way up to the senior citizens. And so viewing Ferndale in the future together, moving forward together, we will come up with the best solutions. They're not always perfect. We do have limits. We have constraints. We've talked a lot about budgets. But as a community, when we decide these things, we come up with the best result. And the nice thing is Ferndale's now desirable to live in. People want to move here. They're paying top dollar. That's why the houses are going up. Things that I can't afford, that I only see online, and I keep track of that. But at the same time, looking at all of the people who want to be here. In the 80s, it was, you live in Ferndale. That's how it was. For those who are here, you remember, oh yeah, Ferndale. Then the 90s, 2000s came, and then it was Ferndale. Oh, you live in Ferndale. And our community is popular amongst the region. And how I view the city of Ferndale is all of us moving forward together. We're equitable, we're inclusive, we show each other respect, and we treat each other with respect. And we need to do that into the future, and that's how I see it.
Thank you, Dennis. John, we come to you with the same question.
So the question here was the city now and the city in the future. I am not a long-term resident. I have been here for 8 years, and I have no intentions of leaving this city. However, what I can tell you what makes our city great is the fact that we all actually care about each other. We are a community. When my neighbors need something, I'm there for them. When I need them to maybe shovel my snow, they're there for me. And that's what makes our community great. What isn't great about our community right now is the fact that our seniors, I go downtown all the time. I love going down there, but I don't see you guys enough. And I want you guys to be included in our community just as equally as everyone else. I know that we're turning into this young, vibrant society, and it's great because it's profitable, obviously, for everyone. However, some issues, oligarchy in restaurants. Why is every restaurant in downtown owned by 2 to 3 companies? Why don't we offer more inclusion, and diversity to our restaurants that are here, instead of giving all of the power? We're talking about issues over on the east side. Why are we giving $1.4 million in subsidies for them to build an apartment complex right over there that is going to destroy the businesses of our current House Bayou, Valentine Vodka, all of these different things that we have? Lastly, I'd like to just mention that we have a homelessness issue here. Ever since 8 Mile, they kicked everyone off of 8 Mile. We need to find a solution for this, and that's why I want to build a community center that is all-inclusive and supports and rehabilitates everyone while giving everyone everything they need. And I feel like I can do that for you, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sean. All right, we will do closing remarks. So 2 minutes, free form. Say anything you'd like if you feel that you left anything from your opening remarks. Ani, we'll start with you. Oh, I'm sorry. Rolanda, we'll start with you this time.
Okay. So first, I want to thank you all for being here today. It's no easy feat to put yourself out there and, run to serve our community. So I appreciate you all being here today. And second, I just want to reiterate my commitment to you all. Our community can only thrive when we stand united. And I firmly believe in fostering a city where each and every one of you has a voice and is heard. As your city council candidate, my primary goal is to champion transparency and connectivity, ensuring that you're always informed and involved in the decisions that impact your lives. Ferndale's future is bright, and together we can shape it through sustainable growth and responsible budgeting. By investing in our community's long-term success, we can create opportunities for all residents, including our seniors. I understand your concerns about increasing your financial burden, the frustration and hurt caused by the lack of maintenance on our municipal buildings, the need for a community center, and countless others. I can promise, as someone who has lived alone, raised a child alone, and had to struggle with finances, I can and will use your resources wisely and responsibly. I will advocate tirelessly for a permanent home for our seniors and invest in programs and activities that enrich your lives. Your voice matters, and I'm committed to creating a city that embraces your wisdom and your experience. Together, we can build a Ferndale that you can be proud of, a place where you can truly call home. Let us listen, learn, and lead together. Together, we can create a brighter and more inclusive future for all. Thank you for your support, and I humbly ask you to join me on this journey and vote for me on November 7th.
Thank you, Rolanda. Roland?
So, I've heard many concerns, many interesting ideas today. And I am so pleased to see such a vibrant group of seniors and community members come out today. This is always a good forum. It's always my favorite forum. I've done this 3 times before, and I just really appreciate you coming out here, because what you're showing me is that you care. You're showing me that you want to know what's going on in your community, and I respect that deeply. I did not go into the public sector as something to do. I remember, sometimes I don't even know how I got into it. But I know that I've always been someone who cares deeply. When I see something going on in the community and I want to be a part of that change, I will find a way to make it happen. I will find a way to get involved. And that's how I started. I was a PTA mom. My children went to preschool here in the community. I've raised all my children here. I've seen it grow. I've seen it change. And I just love raising my family here, and I love the community members that I've gotten to know. You've gotten to know me. And I just want to reiterate that what is important to all of you is also equally important to me. Again, 11 years ago, I entered the public service with a commitment to working hard for you, and I would love to continue working hard for you as your mayor. I ask for your continued trusted support and vote on November 7th. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for the seniors for hosting this forum. Thank you for all the panelists. And also thank you for City Hall for making this our space to be able to voice our concerns. I look forward to seeing and talking to you when I go door to door. And when the community, when we're out taking a walk, when we're all just enjoying this community together. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Roland. Dennis, we'll come to you.
One of the things from the last question that I didn't get to address because I ran out of time was that one of the issues we have here in Ferndale is rats. And we all know about the rats. And I will say Councilwoman Mikulski has done a great job leading the rat patrol, creating it. She's done awesome with that. But what we need is more regionalization of rat control. As my friend Councilman Pollica pointed out, if we got rid of all the rats today, Oak Park, Hazel Park, Detroit, rats will come in, right? So it has to be a regional approach between the three counties. I would want to work with our county executive, Dave Coulter, to bridge that gap between the three counties in attacking this regional issue. But beside that, when we always talk about Ferndale, there are gaps in generations. And I was fortunate enough to know my great-grandfather. I was in 5th grade when he passed away. And I got to hear from him, after he came from Poland, how Ferndale was. And it was a place with all the ferns, and he called it Fernland. And so it's been amazing to see that and to grow up in Ferndale in the 80s and 90s and to see where we've been and now where we're going. I've always been involved in this community through whatever forum it is. It's not always politics. It's just good community-based groups to connect people in community. And being a part of that, I think this is the next logical step, is to serve a full term on the Ferndale City Council, to bring some of that experience and leadership into our community. I've received so many gifts in my life, and education, good job, great family, the whole 9 yards, and I want to give back. And a lot of it is putting my experience, when I have experience in all these other places and things you hear about, that experience I want to put to work in Ferndale so that Ferndale can be the best that Ferndale can be. Because we are the best city in the state of Michigan. We are the best city, period. And that is beyond reproach, and nobody can convince me otherwise. I would hope you stick with me. I'd hope you vote for me on November 7th or by absentee ballot. And I appreciate all of you being here so much, as well as everybody on this panel. It takes a lot to put yourself in this position. I respect all of them. There are no bad people. There are great people, just with different ideas.
Thank you, Dennis. John, we come to you.
That was excellently spoken, by the way, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate everyone that's here today. However, I want to bring up something that I feel the reason that all of you are here today is because you desire change. You want something different. If you wanted the same thing that was going to be going on as it has been for the past 4, 5, 6, 10 years, you wouldn't be here for these issues. And what I want to say is bringing in someone who is going to be able to just replicate our current mayor and be supported by them. I am your new generation, and I will not forget you. I am not going to let you go. I am going to ensure that everyone gets everything that they need, but I'm going to do it in a different type of way, a way that is established within our new society. This is not 1990 anymore. This is not 2000. We live in 2023 here. And I am willing to support everyone in every way possible. And I really hope, and I really truly believe that while I may not be the first gay mayor, I am going to be your youngest mayor. And I know that I can do everything for you guys, and I am guaranteed, and I promise that to you in every aspect of my being. Additionally, I'm not just a talker. I'm a doer. I walk the walk, I talk the talk. If you want something, if you need something, I'm going to be available for you. You're not going to hit my assistant. You're not going to hit that. You're going to hit my phone. And we're going to talk about these things because I believe that you have built our society and you have helped support our society. And now it is my job to support you guys to get everything that you need as well. And I thank you all for your time. I hope you consider me to be your next mayor of Ferndale. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Oscar, and thank you, everyone. Thank you to the seniors for hosting this event, and thank you to my, fellow candidates. This is my very first forum ever. I've worked in government for a long time, but never on this side of the experience, and it's been amazing. I've met some amazing folks, and one thing I know, living here in Ferndale, is that this community is passionate, it is driven, it is hardworking, and it is caring. And we may not agree on everything, but we will always come together to support each other, to move this city forward together. I said at the top of the meeting what Theodore Roosevelt said, that the chance to work hard at work worth doing is such a prize. Public service has been a gift to me. I take it serious as a sacred duty. And I will never promise you something I can't deliver, because that would be a disservice to you. I can't promise that we're going to do everything, and I won't promise that. But like I said, we'll work it out together, we'll talk it through, we'll come up with real solutions for each other. Because this city, it always pulls together, even when we disagree. We fight passionately, but we love just as passionately, and we support each other every step of the way. As your city council person, I'll be there for you. We'll work together. We'll solve the problems we can, and we'll yell about the problems we can't together. I'm Donnie Johnson, and I hope for your vote November 7th or earlier by absentee.
So much. Thank you very much, candidates. Thank you so much for dedication. Time for us to put together.